sure there's some more coming, but I may as well start letting you know. We're going to do a flow for our spine, so hopefully you'll feel a little taller once we're done. Think about all the ways you can move your spine. Good morning, Vicki. You can forward bend, so we're going to extend our spine. We can backward bend, so we're pulling into the front of our spine, deep in our body. We can go side to side 2 ways, and then we can also twist both ways. So 6 ways of moving our spine, and we'll go through all of them. All right, I'm going to plug in because I feel that gives me a little bit anything to not lose you between internet and probably could use a new phone here too one of these days. We'll do that. All right. So let's come to a comfortable cross-legged seat or lying back if you prefer. Just move my phone center a little bit more. There we go. All right. If you want to lie back, you might find that having the inner knees resting together with the feet slightly apart like that might be better. Or you can do the alternate at any point that you like. Drop your knees open and have your foot soles together, or straightening them out part of the time or the whole time. Totally up to you. Might be nice to start on your back this morning with being a flow for our spine. But if you're seated, then you might even want to roll the end of your yoga mat over a little bit if you're seated. Sit your sit bones just on the edge of a little quilt, as I usually do. That elevates and tilts your pelvis forward slightly. Hands can be on your thighs, palms up or down, or in your lap. If you're lying back, they can be on your belly, by your side, palms up or down, doesn't matter. Or maybe one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. Shrug your shoulders up to your ears, and then let them slide down your back, away from your ears, and tuck your chin in slightly. That'll lengthen the back of the neck. Let your eyes fall softly shut if you haven't already done so. Just settling in to your room, the space that you've set aside, onto your mat. So let go of your morning thus far. Let go of today, whatever's in store. Let this next hour just be for you, your body, your mind, and your spirit. Feel the earth beneath you. Feel grounded, rooted to that earth. Sense that earth energy. Bring your awareness to the skies above you. Notice how you feel this uplifting energy when you bring your awareness to that vastness above you. And yet you're still rooted to the earth. So we have this anchor and yet a lightness. Something that in yoga we often try to grasp. Grasp maybe not the right word, but just try to have inside us a rooting yet a lightness. Do a body scan now. Take note as you run your mind's eye over your body. Are there any areas that are maybe in need of a little extra care or attention this morning? And it's not that you'll dwell on whatever issue or issues do arise, but acknowledge whatever does pop up. Make some space for it. When we check in again at the end of the hour with how we're feeling, you may notice things have subtly shifted in perspective or sensation. And then starting to notice your breath. I'm going to do something this morning that Jay Shetty has his students do before meditation or during the beginning of a meditation, which aligns your breath with your body. So just noticing your breath. Maybe beginning to breathe in and back out through your nose, or if you prefer, in through the nose, out through your mouth. And then on an inhale, drop your ear towards your left shoulder. And then as you exhale, bring your head back up to the center. And do that to the right. Inhale, drop your right shoulder, your ear to your shoulder, and then exhale, bring your head back to center. And do that again. Inhale, over to the left. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, over to the right. Exhale, back to center. Just do the last one on your own. And then continuing breathing in and out through your nose, or in through your nose and out through your mouth. Starting to even out the inhales. They probably already are pretty even, but you can put a count to whatever works for you, 3 or 4 as you inhale. Same steady count as you exhale. Remember, there's that little phrase, that mantra you can always use. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. Matching that phrase to your inhales and your exhales. Just ways to help keep your mind inside your bodies, trying to stay present. You can't stop your thoughts. That's not what we do in any kind of meditation or yoga, which is a moving meditation. But we notice them, and when the mind wanders, bringing it back to the breath is a way of focusing it back on whatever it is that you maybe want to focus on. Peace, calm, quiet, gratitude. And as you're breathing and allowing your breath to deepen naturally, you'll find a steady rhythm. On another inhale, pay attention to how your rib cage moves. Follow the expansion in the fronts, the backs, the sides of your ribs. Notice that contraction as you exhale. Go deeper. Feel how your lungs move. See them with your mind's eye as well. Beautiful virtual sponges. They fill up the majority of our chest cavity. First place we assimilate the outer world chi with our inner chi, so they are tender. Notice them expand, then contract. So there's continual movement through our chest cavity that we are rarely aware of during the day, but it's another way to focus your mind. Send your lungs some gratitude for being healthy, for all this work that they do for you all day and all night. And then finally, set your intention for this morning's practice. What's your purpose for doing yoga this morning? And then if you are lying back, make your way to one side. Everyone can blink their eyes open and closed a few times. If you're seated, you might want to lift your knees, straighten them out, give them a little bounce, maybe a rock from the top of the hips, point and flex. You can do that if you are lying back as well. And then slowly make your way up to a seated position if you were lying back. We're going to start off with butterfly pose, which is a nice forward bend for your back. move this big plant out of the way here. I can see a leaf is there. That's better. And maybe, Kate's here. Good morning. I will turn off comments now so that we get the full screen. There we go. Because sometimes it's hard for you if you need to see what I'm doing. So foot soles come together. Let your knees fall open. Make like a diamond shape on your mat. So don't have your feet in really tight like this. It's not Baddha Konasana. It's a different approach to the pose. So it's called butterfly. Most of them have, all of them pretty much have animal names. Sit on the edge of something if you like. That helps to elevate and tilt your pelvis forward. You're just on the edge of it. You can roll the yoga mat over, as I mentioned, even at the beginning of this class. Take an inhale, and then on the exhale, start to round forward if it's okay for your back to round. If not, keep your tummy pulled in, so that'll protect your low back, and then just hinge from the hips. So you're keeping your low back flat like this. You're not going to let it round here, like collapsing in your belly. You're going to keep your belly pulled in so it strengthens with your abdomen, and then this low back is not going to round at all. It's going to stay nice and flat, and just think about bending from the hips. That's if you have any disc issues. If you're okay to round, then for sure let your back round. Think about two lines, a straight line and a curved line. The curved line is longer, so if you let your back round, then you're going to pull these stacked vertebrae apart a little bit more rather than keeping them stable and leaning from the lower part of, like, from your hips. Blocks can be very helpful here. If you find that opening first thing in the morning is maybe a little bit tough on your hips, or maybe you've got a knee injury or knee issues, use your block under the side of your thighs. That'll help give it something to rest on. Remember, you can turn it to however high you need it. Use a cushion. If you don't have a block, that'll work too. Put the block inside the diamond shape. That can always work. Set your forearms on it, maybe, and then just lean, resting onto the block. You can even, if you find your neck is bothering you and you don't want to let your head dangle, set your elbows on the block, rest your head in your hands, or maybe you can round over and let your head rest on the block. That's fine too. If at some point throughout the hold of these poses you find that you don't feel this initial tug, that's the first principle, or tattva, is coming to a pose at your edge. You feel tugging in various areas. And if that dissipates too much and you think, okay, I'm not feeling anything, then you might want to turn the block to a lower level and lean a little further forward. Never pulling in yin. We just find a place where we can relax our arms. And it might be on top of the legs as I have them here. It might be inside the diamond shape, so you're in a really curled up position. You might feel that you want the arms resting out on the feet. Come back to your breath. So once you find that place of tugging, of comfortable discomfort, is the way that Bernie Clark describes it. So it should not be intense, that you cannot breathe like when you were in meditation. The second principle, or tattva, once you found that edge, is stillness. So instead of backing away from that tugging that may make you feel you want to just groan, you stay there. You actually try to be still and calm. And this is one of the beautiful things about yin, is you can take this knowledge that you gain from staying with a discomfort. You can take it off your mat into your life. And remember these teachings of just being calm, breathing. And I know it's helped me in my life in conflict areas. In and out through your nose if you can. If it bothers your neck to let your head dangle, then that's when you support it on the block or in your hands. Or just keep it in line with your spine. Maybe just looking down is good for you. So the other half to the physically being still is this internal stillness. you start to notice one of the things is when the tugging sensations have ebbed, that you might want to move a little bit further into it. Change slightly. But yin is a surrendering practice, so we don't force, we don't push. We let gravity do the work, and our work is to relax, to surrender, and to notice. Any of these poses, you can breathe along your spine. That will help enhance it as well. On your next breath, inhale, you're going to bring yourself back upright. And just sitting still. So important to notice for several breaths when you come out of a pose, and enjoy that release. Lean back on your hands. It should feel fabulous for the hip area. And then set your foot soles down. And do some windshield wipers. Maybe straighten those legs. Give them a nice little bounce, rock from the hips. And then we'll swivel sideways on our mat next. So this gives you padding under your heels. If you're on a hardwood floor, if you're on a carpet, then you should be fine. And open your legs. We're going to go into dragonfly pose. Again, you notice I moved my little quilt with me, so you might want to do the same thing. Just have that slight elevation and tilt of your pelvis. We're going into a little bit deeper of a back bend now. This one can bother hamstrings for a lot of people, so you don't have to keep your legs straight. You can pull the heels in, have a little bit of a bend like so. You can support under the back of your knee with a block if you like, or a cushion. You can pull your knees or your heels in and have your knees fairly high up like that, because we're more interested in the back this morning for one, but then we're also working into the hips a little bit too, which, as you know, those of you that do lots of yin with me, that's what yin's about, back and the hips. Stop, reset. So now we're going to lean straight forward down. So all the things that I said as about butterfly, inhale, and then as you exhale, just come to that appropriate depth. Don't pull yourself. You'll find a place where you just stop. Some people, it might be like, for me, it would be right onto the floor because I'm fairly flexible in this way, but I have other things that I have to work on, and yin strength is one of them, and yoga. It might be that you lean forward, and that's about it. You can feel plenty going on. Your hamstrings are maybe talking to you a little bit, but maybe this is enough of your back bend. It can have to do with your pelvis and your femurs, how they are into the angled sockets of your pelvis. Some people's are tilted back, some people's are tilted forward, some people's are out to the side, into the side, the socket angles. They can be one slightly back and one forward. It just depends. That's your bones, that's your pelvis, so we can't change that. That was really illuminating when I was able to see those pictures in one of Bernie's articles that he had, and then we talked about it in the other teacher training I did this summer, the second one. This is a flow from that second teacher training I did with him this summer. Anyhow, so it was really illuminating that explains why some people just, their forward bend is not a whole lot more than that, whereas other people, their face is on the floor, no problem. Some of it is working years. I've done yoga for a long number of years as well, so pulling on the fascia. We can change our body, we can get more flexible no matter what the age is, and yin is a great way. Yoga is, but yin especially with these long holds. So resting your arms just like butterfly, you can do that on a block. Elbows, rest your head, or maybe it's your head that's on the block. And remember what I said about after we're here for several minutes, again like we were with butterfly. If you find that having it one position and you start to notice the tugging sensations are gone or almost gone, then move the block a little lower and come into a new edge. So that edge is not a static place. Some poses it might be because there's tightness that you're working on, but other poses, quite often, almost all of them, you'll find that the sensation kind of ebbs. And then you can go a little bit deeper, but just baby steps. Always steady breathing in through your nose, back out through your nose or your mouth. And as I was saying, you can enhance these poses with your breath along your spine. So think about your tailbone, and as you breathe in, follow your spine with your mind's eye and your breath right to the base of your skull. As you breathe out, exhale, following the front of your spine. Inhale up the back of your spine. Exhale down the front of your spine. 30 more seconds here. So not only does that do energetic work, pulling energy that may pool at the base of your spine, so you have that lighter feeling, lifting the energy, but it also increases blood flow to your spine. Wherever we bring our mind's eye within our body, we increase blood flow. And that's not just some yoga type beliefs, that's actual science. Last breath in and out, and then on your next exhale, slowly uncurl. Once again, take a moment or two just to be still when you get all the way up. Lean back on your hands, that'll relax your hips. Release, should feel good. And then you might want to help your knees in or pull them into a loosely bent position. This is nice for releasing the back. Arch, lean back, look up. I'm just doing a little counter pose here, and then again for the legs, if you like, do a few windshield wipers just to get some motion back through those hips. Take your time. When you're ready, come over onto your tummies. We've done 2 forward bends. Now we'll do a couple of back bends. So this one is called Sphinx pose, and you come up onto your elbows, kid watching TV kind of position. If you get here and you find right away that's too much for your low back, then you can go to baby cobra. Lower your ribs onto your mat and tuck your elbows down by your ribs, and your hands are under your shoulders instead of your elbows. And then your nose is just a few inches off your mat. So that's totally fine. If you're okay, then your elbows are what's going under your shoulders here. Your feet are relaxed on your mat. The tops of them are just relaxed. Your head is wherever it feels right for you. It might feel good to look down. It might feel good to look towards the end of your mat, so your spine is all aligned here. It might feel good to let your head drop, though we just have done 2 poses where you might have had your head dangling, so it might not be a good idea to do that for you, but if it feels right, do it. Hands or whatever you feel like, palms down, palms together in prayer, or clasp opposite elbows, that can work as well. Relax your bum and your legs. And if you feel that you're not getting that much of a back bend, at whatever point, it can be now, it can be in another minute, maybe you open the legs. That will increase the sensation in your back. Or you might like to float the feet up into the air. Just finding that sweet spot where you can still keep your bum and your legs relaxed. And that'll definitely increase the pulling. You might feel more sensation go into the front of the hips as well. Steady breathing. You always can rest on a block as well if you feel that that's better as well. If you've got a thin mat, you might want to have that quilt under your elbows as well, and that'll give your elbows a little more cushion. For some reason, my one elbow is not liking this morning, so I'm going to do that. Come back to your breathing. This is another one again where you can enhance the pose with your breath. Come to the base of your spine, which is your tailbone. As you inhale, travel up the back of your spine to the base of your skull. Exhale, travel down the front of your spine, visualizing it behind the lungs and the heart, behind your abdominal organs, behind your pelvic organs where it's horizontal to the floor, back to the front of your tailbone. Inhale, travel up the back of your spine, small of your back, ribs between the shoulder blades, along the back of the neck, right to the base of your skull. Exhale. More ways to help focus your mind as well. Take one more breath. And then one more inhale. And on the exhale, slowly come down. Turn your elbows out to the side. Stack your hands, your favorite hand on top. Put your head on one side. Puff your low back out with your breath. That helps to release your back. And then whatever way you're facing, you can pull that leg up alongside you so you're lying with one bent and one straight. If it's some movement that you crave through the pelvis, then float your feet up into the air and do windshield wipers back and forth. And if your head on one side is not good for your neck, just rest your forehead on your hands. You can do that as well. You know what? Just like clothes, there isn't one size fits all for these counter poses or poses. And then we're going to come up one more time. So this time we'll take it a little deeper if it's okay. And come up onto your elbows. If you want to repeat what we did, then that is fine. If you want to float your legs up into the air, if you didn't that first time, then you can do that. If you want to increase the bend, and go into seal pose. Turn your hands out so the fingers point to the sides of your mat and push into those hands. Walk them back a little bit if you like to increase the back bend. If you get up to this point and you think, oh no, that's too much, then go back to Sphinx pose. And if you've had enough in Sphinx pose, do the baby cobra pose. There's lots of options here. Here you can rise up out of the shoulders, so push into your arms, or you can use your arms as posts and drape your body down into the shoulders. Each one is subtly different, so try, if you're not sure which one you need today, try them both for a few breaths and then pick one and stay with it. Again, relax your legs, relax your bum. The work, we're asking some muscles in our back to do some work. One of the few poses where we do target a little bit of muscle here, but also our arms are doing a lot of the work. And again, if you want deeper back bend and you're in seal, you have the option of either opening the legs, take a few breaths there, notice how that changes the back bend, or maybe you float the feet up into the air again, finding that sweet spot where you can relax your bum, relax your legs. Breathing in, breathing out. Pulling, tugging on our fascia in this static, intelligent way where it's just at our edge, it's not too much, is the way we target the cells in fascia that make more cells. For muscles, when we want to increase our muscle size, we do repetitions and endurance, strength, but not for fascia. We do these kind of long, static holds right at that tugging sensation level. We're going to bring this into our neck for the last 30 or 40 seconds here. Tuck your chin and then lift your chin up to the air, if you like. If you'd rather not do that, if it makes you feel dizzy at all, then don't do it. If it bothers the back of your neck, if there's any pain, don't do this. This is a great way to stimulate your thyroid gland. It also is lovely for the ligaments in the front of our neck, targeting those so that we make a little bit more cells of fascia, strengthening and lengthening the fascia. With jobs so often that our heads are down, and even in our off time our heads are bent over, looking at handheld devices, this is a great way to offset that aging process as well. It brings our head forward. Take one more inhale, and then on the exhale, slowly come all the way down. Tend to feel a little broken. Stack your hands with the opposite hand on top that doesn't feel quite right. Turn your head the opposite direction. Puff your low back out with your breath. And that kind of broken, fragile feeling is perfect that you know you've targeted the yin tissues. Draw your leg up alongside you if you're lying with one bent and one straight to fully release the back, or do the windshield wipers if you prefer. Sarah Powers writes in her book that we are pulling apart our skeleton in these yin holds, and it's quite literally what we're doing, tugging. But always, as Bernie says, in an intelligent way. Let your leg or your legs float down. Push up onto all fours. And sink back to child's pose. Just moving slowly. You can stack your fists and rest your forehead on your stacked fists if you like. You can set a block here, rest your head on a block if you prefer, and then relax your arms in front or beside you. If your head goes onto your mat, then stay there, relaxing. Breathing in, breathing out. Steady, yogic breath, just like you had in the meditation. And then on your next breath, just taking your time, moving slowly, come up. You can swing your legs to one side and come to a seated position, or you can cross at the ankles and roll over them to come to a seated position. Again, you might want to sit your sit bones on the edge of a rolled up quilt or your yoga mat, just to give your hips that slight lift and tilt forward. I'm going to do shoelace pose here with some variations. I'll sit this way again so you can see. So here we're going to take our left leg and put it on top of our right leg. Think about when you sit in a chair, how you stack your knees like this. That's what we're aiming for. So bring your knee across to your other knee. The thing is, we are not sitting in a chair, so the side edge of our foot is on our mat, and so it acts as a way to rotate into that left hip joint as well. See how your hips feel. If you're fine, lean back, tuck in the bottom leg so you're in full shoelace. You can do it with the bottom leg bent, or you can have both stacked. So your knees are aiming to be together. You can lift up onto your hands like this and nestle your knees a little bit closer together, and then sit back down. Make sure you're not crooked. Make sure both sit bones are on that rolled up quilt or yoga mat. And then here we are going to do a twist. So take your right hand, we're twisting over to the left, and just rest it against your thigh. You can wrap your left arm behind you. And so it's not that we're pushing ourselves over, we're just finding the yin style of doing this twist. So we turn over to the left. If you want, if it's okay for your neck, bring it into your head or your neck vertebrae by moving your head. and looking far out of the corner of that left eye. That can be a little bit of a nice eye exercise and muscles. Feel those tiny muscles around your eyes working. Just one more breath and then relax your eyes. Close them. Relax your shoulders. Relax your arms. Relax your belly. Make sure you're not tightening there. Relax your legs. Breathing in. Breathing out. Twists are one of the best things we can do for our spine. This lovely dishcloth style squeezing, wringing out, if you will, is a great way to release tension, for one thing. But working on keeping your spine supple, and it also balances out our nervous system. Just tends to be the reason so often releasing tension, but also just feeling that calmness that we get after we twist, and we'll do that throughout the day. Now, bring your head back first, inhaling it back to the center, and then let your body follow. And then we'll go to a side bend to the left as well. And Bernie Clark, this is one of his flows we did in teacher training that I took this summer, spring I guess. He does this a little differently. Take your right hand, if you like, and put it behind your shoulder blades. Help it. I'm using my left hand on the elbow to help it go there. And then walk your left hand out to the left. If that's too much for your shoulder, don't do that with your right hand. That's just another way to target the arm there and into the shoulder a little bit. A block can be great if you want to rest your forearm or your hand on the block as you lean over to the side. Make sure you're not leaning forward, that you're going sideways. Think about your left ear. Drop it towards your left shoulder. Relax those legs. Feel the lovely tug you're getting through your rib cage. The fascia that is beneath your ribs, between your ribs, getting a lovely tug here. Couple more breaths. We just hold this for 1 minute. Now on an inhale, bring yourself back up. Undo that arm. Imagine there's walls coming in, so push out against the walls. Tight. And then just a brief eagle arm. Set your right arm inside, elbow inside your left elbow. Wrap your arms around. Relax your shoulders. You can lift your arms up into the sky a little bit if you like. Just to give another nice little tug across our shoulders. And then undo those arms. Bring the elbows back down. Undo your legs here. Set the foot soles down. Just take a breath or two as you lean back on your hands so you can relax and enjoy that release, and then do some windshield wipers for your legs. Straighten out and give them a bounce, rock from the top. And then we'll do that on the other side. So this time we'll put our right leg on top of that left knee. Lean back, tuck in the bottom leg if you did that, or keep the bottom leg straight. Totally up to you. Lean forward if you are both bent. Nestle those knees together and then sit back down on your sit bones. We'll do the side bend first, over to the right this time, but remember that little extra shoulder thing, so work your arm behind your shoulder blades. Feel a nice little tightness there this morning. And then walk your arm out to the side, your right arm that is, so your side bending over to the right. bending that elbow if you like, resting on a block under your forearm if you like. Think about your right ear this time. Drop it towards your shoulder. Relax both of those shoulders. Try not to collapse forward. We're going right sideways, so keep that chest open. That's one reason why the arm behind the back is kind of a nice way to help keep that open heart rather than collapsing forward. Steady breathing in through your nose, back out through your nose. Or through your mouth if that feels better. Our thought for this morning is about gratitude. And it comes from Rumi, one of my favorite ancient poets from Persia, him and Hafez, I love. Wear gratitude like a, sorry, it's faded here. Wear gratitude like a cloak, and it will feed every corner of your life. Wear gratitude like a cloak, and it will feed every area of your life. Check in that your shoulders haven't crept up. Relax them. On your next inhale, slowly bring yourself back up to the center. Undo that arm. Relax. And I realize I did that wrong. We did the side bend first, didn't we? We're supposed to twist first. So now we'll do the twist. No worries. So use your, actually, let's do our eagle arms there too so we can further release. So set your left elbow inside your right. Wrap those arms, hands around, raising those elbows up. I thought something felt off. Sorry, nobody's in front of me. They can say, wave at me and say, aren't we supposed to twist first? And then drop your elbows down. Now we'll do the twist. So twisting over, wrap your right hand behind your waist. Use your left arm on the outer point of your thigh. And again, turn your head over to the right. Looking far behind you, feel those tiny muscles working. And then relax your eyes. Try not to push yourself around. Relax your arms. Find the yin side of the twist. And if it bothers your neck, again, remember you don't have to bring your head into it. You can keep your head neutral. Breathing in. Breathing out. Relax your legs. So we're going to get one more minute on this side so that we can have our 2-minute twist. So that means our legs are going to get 1 extra minute in shoelace on this side. Wonderful for our ribs as well. Now on an inhale, bring your head back. Another little tip of Bernie's, and then your torso. I have to look into the reasoning why that, but that's in my notes here on my lesson plan. Undo your feet, your legs, plant your foot soles down, lean back on those hands. Just take a moment to enjoy that lovely spearmint feeling as the blood rushes into those areas that you had constricted. And then whatever you need after this, straightening maybe, or windshield wipers if you like. If you feel that they need to straighten out, point and flex, bounce, rock, whatever you need. And then we're going to come down onto our backs. Another twist here for the end. Arms are going to be out in a T. Bring your knees into your chest and then drop them slowly over to the right. You can scoot your right hip under a little bit if you like. You can turn your head and look to the outstretched left hand if that's okay for your neck. Remember, don't do it if it bothers your neck. Just keep your head neutral, back of your head on your mat. Breathing. If you feel like you'd like a little deeper of a twist here, all you need to do is straighten out your bottom leg. You might find that you just want to readjust your hip a little bit, and then you can actually reach down if you like, whether your knees are both bent or one is bent. Rest your fingers in the pit of that knee. Just resting. We're not pulling, we're just resting our hand there for a little bit extra weight. You can, if you have a block handy, rest the block under the bottom knee or under the top if you've got your bottom leg straight. That's always a nice thing to do. If both your knees are bent, set the block between your knees. That can be a nice little bit less stress on that left top hip to put the block between your knees. So lots of things you can do with your legs. We're breathing steadily here. Keep an eye on the time so we are good. In through your nose still. Back out through the nose. Passive twist is wonderful at the end of pretty much any yoga class. Again, as I was saying when we were doing the seated twist, they release tension, these twists. A nice little squeeze all along your spine. Great for the discs as well. But again, as well, as I said before, nervous system wise, this restores equilibrium. Some of the poses were a little bit intense this morning, and we're always trying to be calm, and we might not feel so calm inside. And so that kind of plays havoc with our parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems. Twisting is a way to restore that balance. Give you that sense of calm, all is well. A few more breaths. And then on an inhale, bring yourself back to the center, plant your foot soles so you can lift your hips into the air, and that'll realign your spine. If you want to bring your knees into your chest before you do the other side, feel free. Otherwise, bring your knees up to your chest, drop them slowly over to the left. Scoot the left hip under if you like a little bit. See how it feels on that side. Arms are out in a T. Turn your head and look to the outstretched right hand. Sorry, that chair leg was in the way there. And again, if you did the one knee bent, then take the time to straighten out your bottom leg, maybe readjust your hip. Let those fingers rest in the pit of the knee if you like. Not that you're pulling, just resting there. adjust with a block if you like, underneath one or between the knees. Surrender into this pose. Steady breathing. Check in with your shoulders. Make sure you're not tense there, that they're nice and relaxed. That left hand, if you're resting it on the side of the knee, is just resting. If it feels better to let it be on the ground, then do that. I love spine flows where the twists at the end can be really quite long compared to what we usually do. These are 3 minutes each side. And we're into our last minute now on this second side. If you think about your right ear coming towards your mat, that might bring the twist a little more into your neck, if you like. Take the time here to send your spine some gratitude for its good health. Marvel, it's got such great ability. The spine that rests between your hips, the back of your pelvis, is facing over to the left. The spine that rests behind your throat, the back of your neck, the front of your spine is facing 180 degrees the opposite way. It's pretty amazing. Now on an inhale, slowly unwind. How we can twist like this. Plant your foot soles, lift your hips into the air, set your hips down, and then bring your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your shins, give yourself a hug. Rock over that spine, massaging. Take your time. You can plant your palms on your kneecaps and push those knees nice and slowly a few times in one direction, and then go the same number of times in the other direction. This is a lovely way to massage that mid to low back and the sides of our spine too. You'll go as long as you want there. Take your time. Did a lot of back work today. And then when you're ready, if you don't have a hoodie on, you might want to slip one on. Maybe grab a quilt, a blanket to cover up with. Lying back down, getting ready for final Shavasana. Remember, you can always take Shavasana with your legs bent if you'd rather, and rest the inner knees together. Or just lying straight out. Have a little bit of space between those feet. A little bit of space between your hands, your arms, and your ribs. Taking a deep breath. Let it go with a sigh. Do that again. Deep breath in. Let go. Tuck your chin in slightly. That'll lengthen the back of the neck. Sink into your mat, just like you're lying in warm sand now. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. Fill your body with a warm, healing light from your toes all the way to your scalp. Float away now to a happy place, or stay within, paying attention, watching. But whatever you do choose, stay here for about another 3 minutes or so, letting your body absorb the benefits of this practice in Shavasana. Thank you so much for being here this morning. I will see you again 7 o'clock on Thursday. Namaste, my friends. Have a wonderful Tuesday.